Have you ever stopped for a moment, looked around, and realized that your mind is being hijacked by thoughts you don't want? Every day, we face hundreds, even thousands of images, sounds, information, and emotions without pause. A phone call, a text, a comment on social media, and suddenly, your mind is pulled into a current you can't control. In this world, where everything is constantly changing, the mind is our most valuable asset, but also the most vulnerable. Those rare few who can truly protect their minds aren't lucky. They've learned how to carefully choose what deserves their attention and let go of what doesn't. Stoicism teaches us that not everything around us is under our control. What belongs to others, what exists in the world outside, should not dictate our emotions or our peace of mind. The only thing we can fully control is our own mind. And when we learn to protect it, we experience true freedom. In today's video, I will guide you through core principles to protect your mind at all costs. These are not empty platitudes or abstract philosophy. They are practical daily steps that help you maintain calm, focus, and inner strength, even when the world around you is in chaos. Imagine your mind as a fortified castle. If you don't know how to build the walls, guard the gates, and carefully select what is allowed inside, the castle will crumble. But if you learn to stand watch, you will have an inviolable sanctuary, where only what truly matters is permitted to enter. On today's journey, you will learn how to identify the silent enemies in your mind, how to control your attention, and how to maintain peace even in the most challenging situations. This is the path to a mind that is resilient, unshaken by anything outside. Before we dive in, take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Prepare to open your mind. What you are about to hear will not only change how you see the world, but also how you see yourself. Principle 1. Identify the mind thieves. First, you need to understand something crucial. Not everything we perceive as a threat actually is one. Our minds have a strange mechanism. They create worries, negative images, imagined criticisms that never actually happened. These are the silent mind thieves, the things that distract you, make you anxious, and sometimes even bring suffering without reason. An unanswered message, an offhand comment, a past situation you haven't fully processed. All of these can become a heavy mental burden if you don't identify them. Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, "Your mind is your ultimate domain. Guard it." So how do you identify these mind thieves? Start by observing. Whenever you feel tense, restless, or angry, pause and ask yourself, what is disturbing my mind? Is this truly important or just an illusion? This practice isn't about ignoring your emotions. It's about separating reality from the stories your mind invents. When you realize that most of your mental energy is spent on meaningless worries, you gain a choice. Continue letting them control you, or release them and focus on what truly matters. A common example. You notice a colleague is more successful than you, and immediately your mind starts running through comparisons, envy, or self-criticism. Left unchecked, these thoughts can consume your entire day, drain your energy, and disrupt your peace. But when you apply Stoicism, you pause and say, "These are just thoughts, not reality. I control my reaction, not the other person." In doing so, instead of being hijacked, you redirect your energy toward self-improvement, enhancing your skills, focusing on your goals, and nurturing inner peace. Another key part of identifying mind thieves is recognizing the sources of information around you. Media, social networks, the news, they are double-edged swords. They can easily make you stressed, anxious, or generate unnecessary negative emotions. The Stoic principle: minimize exposure to sources you cannot control and carefully select what truly matters. Picture yourself standing in the middle of a storm. You cannot stop the storm, but you can choose your shelter. Your mind works the same way. When you learn to recognize what enters it, the energy drainers, the distractions, the peace stealers, you create a safe space where you control your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Remember, identifying is the first step to protecting your mind. Without it, you are led around by forces outside yourself. With it, you begin to wield true power, the power to choose your response. Principle 2. Limit outside influence. Once you've identified the mind thieves, the next step is learning to limit the influence of the external world on yourself. This is one of Stoicism's most important principles. Not everything happening around you deserves your mental attention. Imagine this. Every day, you are bombarded by hundreds, even thousands of pieces of information. A negative social media comment, a tense conversation at work, an unexpected situation, all have the potential to stir your mind into a storm. Without control, your mind becomes an ocean in turmoil. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not over external events." This is the essence. Inner peace does not come from changing others, changing circumstances, or removing difficulties. It comes from choosing how you respond to everything around you. How do you limit outside influence? First, set boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are frameworks to protect your mind. They might mean limiting social media use, avoiding people who constantly drain you, or declining unnecessary negative conversations. Another approach is to pause before reacting. Is this worth losing my inner peace? Is it within my control? If the answer is no, practice letting go and redirecting your energy. This isn't apathy, it's intelligent choice. You do not allow what is not yours to dictate your thoughts or emotions. Imagine your mind as a house. If you leave the doors open, noise, odors, and chaos will flood in, making the space crowded and cluttered. But when you learn to selectively allow only what is necessary, keeping what helps you grow, your mind becomes bright, peaceful, and your energy remains intact. Another key practice is observing without reacting immediately. When someone says something irritating, when news or external events trigger emotions, pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, this does not control me. I control how I perceive and respond. Practicing this daily forms an invisible armor around your mind. You do not reject the world. You still engage, observe, and feel, but you do not allow it to take control. You learn to stay peaceful, even when chaos surrounds you. Finally, remember, limiting outside influence does not mean withdrawing from life. It is freedom of choice, the freedom to choose the information you consume, the people who influence you, and your responses. Practice this consistently, and you will see that no mind thief is powerful enough to overwhelm you. This principle does not happen in a single day. It is a process, from observation and identification to rejecting negative influence and keeping your mind clear. Gradually, you will see that inner peace is no longer a distant ideal. It becomes an essential part of your life. Principle 3. Control your reactions. One of the deepest lessons Stoicism teaches is this: we cannot control others, but we can always control how we respond. This is the key to protecting your mind under any circumstance. Think back to the last time you felt angry, frustrated, or anxious because of someone else's actions. That feeling surged through you like a flood, clouding your reason and suffocating your inner peace. Stoicism does not ask you to become numb or indifferent. It teaches you to observe your emotions, recognize them, and then choose your response, rather than reacting instinctively. Marcus Aurelius emphasized, "It is not what happens that troubles us, but how we think about it." The simple awareness that your reaction is a choice puts real power in your hands, not in the hands of others or external circumstances. So how do you control your reactions? First, create a gap between stimulus and action. When intense emotions arise, take a deep breath, count to 10, or step back before speaking or acting. That pause is where you regain clarity. In that moment, ask yourself, does this reaction serve my peace and values, or does it only feed anger, pain, or fear? Second, observe without judgment. When provoked or hurt, avoid immediately labeling events or people as bad, unfair, or unacceptable. Instead, see them as natural phenomena. They have causes, they have effects, but they do not define you. By doing so, you are no longer controlled by emotions. You begin to manage them. The third principle is to invest energy only in what you can control. You cannot change others' actions, control their responses, or twist every situation to your will. But you can control your thoughts, your words, your movements, and how you maintain inner calm. Focusing on these reveals true power, inner freedom. A practical exercise is to keep a daily journal of emotions and reactions. When you feel anger, frustration, or anxiety, write down what happened, how you felt, how you reacted, and if you could do it over, could you respond differently? Over time, you will notice recurring patterns in behavior and thought, allowing you to adjust and gain better control. Imagine your mind as a boat in stormy seas. Others and circumstances are the waves. You cannot stop the waves, but you can steer the rudder, choosing direction, speed, and stability. Controlling your reaction is the rudder of the mind, and each successful maneuver strengthens the vessel. Most importantly, controlling your reaction is not suppressing emotions. It is understanding them and channeling their energy into constructive action. Anger can become determination. Anxiety can become a concrete plan. Sadness can become self-observation and profound insight. Stoicism does not deny emotions. It transforms them into tools for freedom and inner peace. With daily practice, you will discover a simple but powerful truth. No one can steal your mind if you do not give them that power. No words, actions, or circumstances can disturb your peace if you respond with wisdom rather than instinct. Principle 4. Master the skill of recognizing and releasing negative thoughts. One of the quietest enemies of the mind is negative thinking. It slips in subtly, turning worries into obsessions, doubts into guilt, and regrets into burdens. Stoicism teaches that not every thought that appears in your mind is true, and more importantly, they do not compel you to act. Picture your mind as a room full of ghosts. Some ghosts are past events, some are worries about the future, some are judgments you impose on yourself. If you do not learn to recognize them, you will live in darkness, letting them lead your every step. But once you learn to face them, name them, and realize they are just thoughts, you begin to reclaim control. The first principle is to observe without judgment. When a negative thought arises, for example, I will fail, I'm not good enough, everything will go wrong, do not rush to judge or suppress it. Pause and ask yourself, Is this a thought or a fact? Then, do I have real evidence to believe this? Often, the answer is no. Recognizing that the thought is temporary and does not control your emotions or actions is the first step toward freedom. Second, release the thought rather than cling to it. When a negative thought arises, do not fight or suppress it. Instead, observe it like a cloud drifting across the sky. You see it, but it does not block the sunlight. This practice not only reduces mental pressure, but also enhances clarity and calm in any situation. The third principle is to replace negative thoughts with constructive ones. When you notice a harmful thought, redirect it with a question or positive affirmation. What can I learn from this situation? Is this truly worth my worry? Or what can I do to control what is mine? This transforms negative energy into strength for action and wisdom. A simple but effective exercise is keeping a thought journal. Each day, write down stressful or painful thoughts, and next to them, how you could view them differently, with reason, reality, or Stoic perspective. Over time, you will notice a pattern. Most of what worries you is not reality. It is your interpretation of it. Stoicism reminds us that the mind's nature is freedom, if you know how to maintain it. By practicing recognition and release of negative thoughts, many worries dissolve simply through observation. You do not need to force happiness, escape pain, or fight every thought. You only need to be the wise observer, always discerning what is fact and what is imagination. Finally, when you combine this skill with controlling your reactions, Principle 3, you create a strong mental shield. No judgment, no action from others, no circumstance can unbalance you, because you have built an inner fortress through awareness and freedom. Imagine each negative thought as a stone falling into a lake. If you try to grab it, it hits you. If you learn to let it go, the lake remains calm, reflecting the sky clearly. Your mind works the same way. Maintaining serenity is maintaining supreme power. Principle 5. Set boundaries and protect your mental energy. If Principle 4 taught us to master our thoughts, Principle 5 emphasizes the power of boundaries, a subtle but mighty weapon in protecting your mind. Many people think boundaries are rigid or isolating, but in reality, they are an expression of self-respect. When you know your limits, you not only shield your mind from negative influence, but also create space for inner growth. Imagine your mind as a house. If the doors are wide open, every wind, every noise, every disturbance from outside floods in, disrupting your balance. But when you learn to close the doors you need, selectively allowing sounds and energy to enter, the house becomes calm, bright, and manageable. Boundaries are those doors. The first rule: know others, know yourself, and set clear limits. Who is allowed to influence your mental energy? Who is not? This is not about hatred or total isolation. It is about protecting your most important resource, inner peace. When someone consistently spreads stress, criticism, or doubt, ask yourself, do I need to take this in? If the answer is no, you have the right to refuse. Principle 2. Make time for silence and renewal. Modern life is flooded with information, messages, social media, and endless demands from the outside world. Our minds run like machines in constant motion. Stoicism reminds us that silence is where we recharge, where we sort through our thoughts, and where we gain clarity about ourselves and the world. A few uninterrupted hours each day, free from drama, free from outside opinions, become golden moments to protect your mind. Principle 3. Know when to say no. Many people feel guilty when they refuse, fearing judgment, rejection, or lost opportunities. But Stoicism teaches that upholding your values is more important than pleasing everyone. Every time you consciously say no, you reaffirm your control over your mind and emotions. Principle 4. Shield your mental energy from negative situations. A tense argument, a troubling story, or a harsh judgment can all affect your mind if you let them. You do not have to engage in every battle or prove yourself to everyone. By choosing silence, withdrawing, or simply not letting emotions take over, you are practicing Stoicism, maintaining mental calm in a chaotic world. Principle 5. Recharge your energy through inner values. When you set boundaries, you create space to nurture wisdom, virtue, and mental strength. Instead of wasting energy on things beyond your control, invest it in personal growth, learning, practicing Stoic principles, and caring for your mental health. This is how the mind is not only protected but strengthened. Imagine carrying a container of mental energy. Every relationship, every piece of information, every external influence is like a drop poured into that container. If you are not careful, it will overflow, diluted with negativity. But if you set boundaries and selectively choose what enters, you preserve a pure source of energy, ready for the things that truly matter, thinking, acting, and living according to your values and principles. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, it is not what happens that hurts us, but how we perceive it. How you perceive a life full of people, events, and negative information is the doorway to whether your mind remains peaceful or becomes chaotic. Principle 6. Practice mindfulness and presence to protect your mind. In this chaotic life, our minds often chase the past or the future. We worry about what's lost or fear what hasn't arrived. Stoicism teaches that peace is not outside, it lies in being fully present in the moment. By living each moment completely, you prevent negative emotions and others from hijacking your mental energy. Step 1. Observe yourself as an outsider. When emotions arise, anger, sadness, disappointment, pause and observe them without judgment. As Epictetus said, "It is not what happens that harms us, but how we perceive it." By distancing yourself from the waves of emotion, you create a space between stimulus and response, a space where freedom exists. Step 2. Respond to life consciously, not habitually or reflexively. Imagine driving in a busy city. If you drive on autopilot, you risk collisions, missed turns, or missed opportunities. Likewise, reacting to emotions, anger, comparison, disappointment, by habit drains energy and control. Mindfulness is the tool to steer your mind rather than being steered by it. Step 3. Focus on what you can control right now. Instead of worrying about what others think, say, or do, ask yourself, what action in this moment creates value? Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have the power over your mind, not external events. By focusing on what you truly control, you reinforce the walls that protect your mind. Step 4. Practice presence in everyday actions. Eating, walking, breathing, listening to music, reading, any of these can become a form of meditation. When you do something with full attention, you reconnect mind and body, preventing distractions from worries or intrusive memories. A cup of tea, a good book, a piece of music, when experienced fully, they become a way to maintain inner peace. Step 5. Recognize and release toxic thoughts as they arise. Mindfulness allows you to notice thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," "They don't acknowledge me," or "I'll always be alone." Don't let them grow into dark clouds. Observe, acknowledge, and let them pass. Stoicism emphasizes that thoughts have power only if you allow them, and mindfulness ensures that power remains in your hands. Step 6. Cultivate gratitude and awareness of present value. When you focus on what you have, health, family, loyal friends, or even simply your breath, you stop your mind from wandering into fear or regret. Gratitude is not just an emotion, it's a strategy to protect your mind from negative energy stemming from the past or future. Step 7. Act with purpose and clarity. Every decision, big or small, affects your mental energy. Acting consciously with stillness not only protects your mind from distraction and chaos, but builds a strong foundation for personal growth and inner freedom. Remember, mindfulness is not absolute stillness. It is the ability to master your mind amid life's chaos. Every moment you remain present strengthens your mental walls, blocks negative energy, and preserves your power. Principle 7. Remove toxic people and environments to protect your mind. One of the most important lessons Stoicism teaches is that your mind is sacred territory, and you have the right to protect it from harmful influences. People and environments around you shape your thoughts, decisions, and worldview. If you don't manage these influences, you quickly lose inner power. Step 1. Identify sources of negative energy. This includes not only direct behaviors, criticism, jealousy, pressure, but also passive attitudes, relationships that induce insecurity, worry, or self-doubt. Marcus Aurelius said, "No one can harm you unless you allow them to." Recognition is the first step toward reclaiming mental power. Step 2. Set clear boundaries. When interacting with toxic people or environments, don't feel guilty for saying no or stepping back. This is not selfish, it's protecting your highest asset, peace of mind. Imagine you are a fortress. Boundaries are the walls. You can open gates for those you trust, but not let intruders destroy the calm within. Step 3. Minimize exposure to unnecessary things. This applies not only to people, but also environments, information, and social media. Constant scrolling, negative news, or following people who make you feel inferior is a continual test of your mental resilience. Be selective about what you allow into your mind, just as you are selective about what you put into your body. Only nourishing things deserve consumption. Step 4. Accept that some relationships are not worth maintaining. Many people keep contact out of habit, politeness, or hope they will change. But Stoicism reminds us, your time and energy are precious. Don't give them to those who don't respect your values. Even if letting go feels uncomfortable, it is an act of freedom and maturity, protecting you from long-term mental erosion. Principle 5. Create an environment that nurtures peace. This principle is about surrounding yourself with spaces and habits that allow your mind to recover, reflect, and build mental energy without distraction. It could be a quiet corner in your home, a circle of positive friends, or daily practices that cultivate mindfulness. When your mind is protected by a healthy environment, you are able to think clearly, act rightly, and maintain your principles in life. Principle 6. Learn to accept change and loss. Toxic people and circumstances will come and go, often in ways you don't want. Stoicism reminds us that nothing is permanent. Rather than resisting it, use change as an opportunity to reset boundaries, control your choices, and strengthen your mental self-mastery. Principle 7. Foster positive relationships and environments. After removing harmful influences, replace them with energy that supports you. Honest friends, supportive family, inspiring colleagues, or a community of value. This is not just defense. It's about creating balance, nurturing personal growth, and keeping your mind resilient. Remember, protecting your mind does not mean isolating yourself. It's about making wise choices to preserve inner strength. Knowing who and what deserves your attention reduces conflict and distraction, while increasing clarity, calm, and self-mastery in every situation. Principle 8. Build daily habits to strengthen resilience and mental power. Stoicism is not just an abstract philosophy. It is a daily practice where each thought, choice, and action contributes to mental strength. To protect your mind fully, philosophy must become habit, and habit must form a solid foundation. Step 1. Begin each day with awareness and intention. Before the world throws responsibilities, tasks, or chaos at you, take a few deep breaths, focus on what you can control, and remind yourself, I cannot control everything, but I can control how I respond. This simple act sets the tone for the day and reduces the risk of being swept away by external disorder. Step 2. Practice control over your thoughts. When negative emotions arise, anger, worry, sadness, do not react immediately. Observe them as an outsider. Breathe, recognize the feeling, and ask, is this worth my energy? Does it help me become the person I want to be? This breaks automatic reactions and protects your mind from temporary emotional storms. Step 3. Keep a journal or reflect daily. Marcus Aurelius wrote journals as a way to master his mind and cultivate wisdom. Writing down thoughts, emotions, and decisions helps identify patterns of negativity while strengthening self-mastery. Each journal entry becomes a map for inner growth. Step 4. Set clear boundaries and priorities. Daily habits are more than routines. They are a shield for your mental energy. Learn to say no to unimportant demands, reduce distractions, and focus on what truly matters. With proper priorities, your mind stays undisturbed, allowing real growth instead of wasted energy. Step 5. Exercise to strengthen your mind. Stoicism emphasizes the connection between body and mind. A healthy body is the foundation for a strong mind. Daily physical activity, walking, exercising, or yoga, boosts health, manages stress, heightens awareness, and reinforces mental resilience. Step 6. Face challenges intentionally. Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, imagining potential difficulties in advance to prepare mentally. By intentionally exposing yourself to challenge, your mind becomes flexible and strong, ready to handle real trials without shock or instability. Step 7. Maintain daily moments of silence. A few minutes of meditation, focus, or simply observing your thoughts eliminates clutter, organizes your mind, and reinforces clarity and mental fortitude. It creates space for wisdom and resilience, regardless of outside pressure. When practiced consistently, these habits transform you into someone who is not easily swayed by emotions, not controlled by others, and always centered. A trained mind is a free mind. It does not suppress feelings, but ensures they do not dictate your path. Principle 9. Accept reality and find strength in what you cannot control. One of the hardest lessons of Stoicism is accepting reality, even when it is painful, disappointing, or contrary to your desires. Not everything is within your control, and forcing reality to fit your expectations only leads to stress and suffering. Imagine standing before a storm. You cannot stop the rain or the wind. All you can choose is shelter and your response. This is the core of Stoic thought. Do not suffer for what you cannot change, but remain steadfast in how you face it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, recognizing that everything happens naturally as part of the circle of life, and that you cannot change it, brings peace. Applied to modern life, every loss, disappointment, or misunderstanding is beyond your control. Instead of suffering needlessly, you can find strength in acceptance. Acceptance does not mean passivity or giving up. It means stopping the futile struggle against reality and focusing your energy on what you can control: your thoughts, actions, responses, and attitude. Mastering your responses makes you nearly invulnerable to external disruptions. A practical exercise is to ask yourself daily, what in this situation is within my control? What is completely beyond my control? Let go of what you cannot control. Care for what you can, with attention and determination. Next, find strength in adversity. Stoics do not avoid difficulty. They embrace it as a chance to grow. Every failure, loss, or challenge is an opportunity to develop endurance, patience, and self-mastery. It is not the external event that weakens you, but how you perceive and respond to it that determines your mental strength. Imagine your mind as a fortress. Uncontrollable events are storms and wind. If you open the doors to everything, the fortress is empty and damaged. But with strong gates and solid walls, letting only the right things in, you protect your mind from chaos. Finally, remember, acceptance is freedom. When you relinquish control over the uncontrollable, you free yourself from invisible burdens. You are no longer swept away by others, events, or circumstances. You return to your center, where true strength, real peace, and genuine freedom exist. In today's world, where information, emotions, and pressures surround us constantly, this principle is more crucial than ever. It allows you to keep a calm, clear, and focused mind, enabling a life of purpose, meaning, and value. Principle 10. Learn to let go, choose freedom, and live mindfully. By now, you understand the power of self-control, protecting your mind, and accepting what cannot be changed. Stoicism teaches one more essential truth: knowing how to let go of what binds you and choosing freedom. Letting go does not mean abandoning life, giving up love, or becoming indifferent. It is the art of releasing yourself from invisible chains, expectations, fears, or painful memories. When you let go, you lose nothing. Instead, you find yourself a calm mind, a light heart, and genuine inner strength. Imagine letting go to find freedom. Picture yourself carrying a bag full of stones. Each stone represents a relationship, a disappointment, a pain, or an unrealistic hope. If you try to carry them everywhere, you will grow tired, burdened, and unable to move forward. Letting go is putting those stones down, not because they are unimportant, but because you deserve lightness and freedom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If something happens, accept it. If it does not happen according to your wishes, let it go." This is more than advice. It is a way of life. When you let go, you stop fighting reality and begin living according to life as it actually unfolds, instead of in the illusion of your desires. A key step in letting go is recognizing illusions and false expectations. We often hold on to people, memories, or opportunities simply because they fit the story we want to tell about our lives, not because they truly serve us. Stoicism teaches that reality is an ally, and illusion is the enemy. By facing reality, you see clearly what is worth keeping and what needs to be released. Letting go is also closely tied to mindfulness, the Stoic way of being present. Mindfulness is the clear awareness of each moment, thought, and feeling without allowing them to control your mind. When you let go of the past and release fears of what hasn't happened, you can fully live in the present, the place where true freedom and strength exist. Try this exercise. Whenever your mind gets caught up in the unnecessary, ask yourself, is this within my control? Does this help me become a better version of myself? If the answer is no, take a deep breath, release it, and return to yourself. Letting go not only clears the mind, but also increases your capacity to love and care freely. When you are no longer clinging, you can give affection purely, without demands, without fear of loss. You love because you want to love, not because you must be reciprocated. This is the true power of a Stoic soul, free, pure, and steadfast. And finally, remember, freedom is not something to wait for from others. It is something you grant yourself. Every time you choose to let go, you choose freedom. Every time you live mindfully, you choose mastery over your mind. Every time you choose the present over illusion, you move closer to your strongest, most peaceful, and complete self. Reflecting on the journey, we have traveled a long path, from recognizing what is beyond our control, learning to detach from negative emotions, to cultivating self-mastery, practicing wisdom, and releasing unnecessary attachments. Every principle we have explored serves one purpose: to protect your mind at all costs. Protecting the mind does not mean avoiding emotions or becoming indifferent. On the contrary, it is living deeply, mindfully, and consciously with every thought, reaction, and choice. By practicing Stoicism, you not only learn how to respond wisely to challenges, but also how to maintain your values, peace, and ownership of your life. Picture your mind as a fortress. Every negative thought, every useless expectation, every unrealistic illusion is an intruder trying to weaken the walls. The Stoic principle is to secure the gate, erect strong defenses, and carefully choose what is allowed inside. When your mind is safe, when your inner world is calm, no one and nothing can take away your power and freedom. People, events, disappointments, and losses will always come. They are part of life. But if you apply the 10 Stoic principles we've discussed today, you will realize that no one and nothing can control your happiness and value, except you. You will learn to accept reality without resentment, set boundaries and protect your inner peace, release meaningless attachments, illusions, and false expectations. Live in the present with mindfulness and freedom. Become the strongest, most complete, and peaceful version of yourself. And that is the message of today's video. Protect your mind at all costs. Protecting your mind is protecting yourself. Every choice you make, every action you take, directly affects your peace, power, and happiness. No one else can do it for you, and nothing is more valuable than standing firm, calm, and free. If you have found value in this video, leave a like to show that these Stoic teachings have reached you. Don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Crowned Silence, where we explore peace, wisdom, and inner strength together. Finally, share in the comments. Which principle will you apply first to protect your mind? Remember, the Stoic journey is not about perfection. It's about progress, step by step, moment by moment. Each time you choose calm, mindfulness, and freedom, you upgrade the best version of yourself. Step into the world with a steady mind, a free heart, and a determination to let nothing steal your mastery over your life. Thank you for staying until the end. Let's build a community where wisdom, peace, and mental strength are honored. Protect your mind, because it is the most precious asset you have.